Welcome, friends, to the Jewelry Bench podcast, where we talk all things related to jewelry. In this video, I'm going to talk to one of my mentors and my best friends, Javier Villarreal. He's been my mentor and my friend, my coach. So I hope you love this podcast as much as I did interviewing him and having a conversation with him. He's an incredibly interesting person. Now, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Like the video so YouTube help us out putting this video out there, and don't forget to click the bell so YouTube lets you know when I put the rest of the conversation online. So no further ado, watch this video. Well, first of all, this podcast is called the Jewelry Bench. It's an idea that I have for a while, and I thought of bringing, who's gonna be my first guest, the more guests, and I said, as soon as I thought about it, it's like, it has to be Javier.
Oh, thank you.
So that's what I postponed it and thought about it. It's like, no, I think I thought about it too much. I was like, no, it's just gotta be just like in the Jewelry Bench,
Yes.
like as you can see, have jewelries. These are old jewelry benches. They're gone through. There's a real jewelry benches. Look, they're beat up. They're used. There's stuff in it, microscopes and all those lights. Jewelry has changed, hasn't it?
Oh, has changed so much. I started going with my uncles,
What year was that?
1968.
19. Is that what sparked your curiosity? Or let's talk about a little bit about your family.
Well, okay,
What is are your family all jewelers?
okay. My father was a jeweler.
Okay.
My
Rest in peace, Carlos.
Yes,
Villarreal.
and then we have other uncles. You met them before, Roberto, and I have another uncle that passed away. His name was Hector Villarreal, and a jeweler as well. He had a few sons that were into the business, jewelry making in San Diego. My uncle Roberto, he only had two girls. They were not into the business.
Okay.
So the guy was a very good jeweler. Today he still lives in Oregon. He used to be here in LA for many years. And my father started being a jeweler in Mexico City.
Mexico City.
Yes, actually, the first person to be in the jewelry business was my uncle Roberto, the one that lives today in Oregon.
In Oregon.
Yeah, he. What happened is my father and family, when he was kid, they were like, I think nine kids. No, actually there were 10 kids.
Wow.
And
Mexico
City.
Mexico City. El
So grandfather Alfredo Villarreal, he didn't earn enough money to take care of everybody. So what happened is he allowed his sister-in-law to take him, and she was pretty okay. Not really rich, but she was okay. She lived in a really nice neighborhood. Coyoacán, you heard of that before, right?
Yeah.
She used to live there.
I mean, I heard of it. I don't remember.
Yes,
It's been there years.
she used to have a beautiful home.
Coyoacán is a nice area. Still to
yeah,
today,
yeah.
right?
Still until
It's-
today, yeah. And what happened is my uncle went to live there, and my aunt's, his aunt says, "Hey, I have some friends that are in the jewelry business." So my uncle, when he was maybe 13 years old, he went as an apprentice to a jewelry shop, and he had a really good teacher.
Okay.
So my uncle became really good. He was really, really good. So he was the first one at that age. And
13 years old.
yeah, and then he started getting better and better, and then he got his brothers, Hector, first. And then Hector started working at home. He had a nice little jewelry shop, but it was at home,
Right.
in a little shack, as a matter of fact.
No kidding.
So then they invited my father to go and learn over there, learn how to do stone setting. So that's what my father did. So what happened is, right after that, everybody started moving in different places. My father came to USA
What year was that?
in probably was maybe 1958,
Okay.
around that time, because I remember, when my father decided to go into the United States with the family. It was in 1959.
How old do you think he was? When he started jewelry, was he still single or
He,
he was already a
no,
married
he
man?
was already married. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he
So
was already married.
He could have maybe in his late 20s, mid
Yeah,
20s?
yeah. I think about yeah, late 20s.
Late 20s, early 30s,
Late 20s, yeah.
maybe. Okay.
Yeah, late 20s.
58. So he comes to the States with the whole family?
In 1959 is when he came in with the whole family, and believe it or not, it was so easy to get immigration papers. I never had the experience of, you know, going without any papers to the USA. Everything
Yeah,
was
yeah,
fixed in Mexico City. All he had to do is to be an expert on anything. He was an
Oh, okay.
expert in jewelry.
So he came legally. That's
Yes.
he got a visa to
Yes,
work.
all
yeah,
that
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
So the first time that I put a foot on USA,
Yeah.
I was 7 years old, and when I was there, I didn't know what was happening. But right away they gave me my green card, and I said, "What is this?
Okay,
You know,
was-
what is it for? What does it do? You know?" But
Like, go?
anyway, but anyway, so we lived in San Antonio, Texas, for about 6 months, and my father didn't
Antonio.
get used to the weather, so his brother.
It's too dry, right, compared to Mexico City's.
Oh yeah. So his brother was already living here in Los Angeles. He says, "What are you doing over there? There's a
Yeah.
lot of work for jewelry making here in Los Angeles."
Los Angeles.
So my father took the risk, and he came over to L.A. The first place where he went to, jewelry store called California Jewelsmith in Beverly Hills. In 1959.
Is it still there today?
It
Maybe
is not there anymore. I went Beverly Drive. It's not there anymore. Yeah, after those guys passed away, the second generation started working in the jewelry business, but they, maybe didn't have the ability, the knowledge. So what they did is they closed it.
Business wise, or the knowledge about making
Yeah,
jewelry?
well, you have to, it was a retail store, right?
Okay.
So you need to know what you're doing. See
Yeah,
what happened
yeah,
is they
yeah.
had the big load, and they're saying, well, what do I do next? All right.
They didn't know what to do. They weren't trained, I guess.
Yeah, they
weren't
were not.
really trained
They were
properly.
not trained, and there were two brothers that were the
Yeah.
partners. And well, my father's he actually left while the jewelry was still functioning, and he came to downtown Los Angeles, in 607 Hill Street
Yeah, just
on the 5th floor. Name of the guy was George Barmach.
George Barshmanch.
Yeah, he's a
Barmach.
really, really nice, really good jeweler. Sitting on the bench, very high quality jewelry making. So when my father was there, he gave him a very, very welcome,
But your
And-
dad was already, let's say, man and maid. He was
Yeah,
already.
he
He already knew everything.
You met my
from-
father, right?
I was fortunate enough to have.
Even just a little bit, right?
No. He. It's a matter of fact. Well, just to. He had diabetes then.
Yes,
When
yes,
I
yes.
met him, and he would still drive his Benz. What car was it? It was
1984.
what model was it? It was a five,
It was a 300
320?
turbo diesel.
Yeah, and he would drive it. He was telling me that he couldn't really see, so he was asking your mom, "What's the Exodus? Is what?"
Yeah, tell me what.
And then your mom
typing.
was upset. Like,
Is very nervous. My mom was.
she was very nervous,
nervous. Oh, yeah.
about it, and he was like, "Yeah, I can't see." It's like, "What are you doing driving?" He's telling
Yeah, my father would tell her, "Tell me where." When we
get
get
to 9th Street or something.
6th Street,
6th Street, yeah.
So he says, "Okay, it's right there, but what are you doing?" Very
Yeah,
nervous.
he was- that
And-
car, I got the privilege to sit in that car when it was passed on to you,
Yes, and today now I pass it on to my son,
to son,
Steven.
Steven Villarreal,
Steven Villarreal.
not Villarreal, Villarreal.
Yes.
I think we should do eventually this again, but all in Spanish, because there might be people who want to hear about it, but we just do it all in Spanish because we're bilingual.
Sure. Yes.
Anyway, so your father gets to 607 5th floor
Yes.
And he's welcome because he's good?
Yeah. Oh, he did marvelous jobs. You know, really
Like what?
fine stone setting.
I
He
mean, what year was that? You
okay.
say 60,
Probably
62?
most probably either 69 or 1970.
So 10 years from 58,
Yes.
10 years later to being here in LA already working. Okay.
Yes. And I started going to my uncle's
Yeah.
jewelry shop half a day. I used to go to school in the morning.
Where did you go to school? What year was that?
Morningside High School
Well,
in
you said 68,
Inglewood.
right?
1968 I started.
1968.
Yeah, it was during the summertime. And in fact, I got there by mistake. Because I was in Tijuana, Mexico.
Yeah.
And I got a ride from my uncle. He says, I'm going to take you to your father, you know. So he got lazy. On the way, he says, you know what? I'm going to take you to Grandma's house in Los Angeles, you know.
Yeah.
Pico in Vermont. She says, I'm going to take you there. And I said, oh, my God, what am I going to do there? You know, I know they didn't have enough beds. But I said, okay, if I sleep on the floor, it's fine. One night is no problem.
All right. And then you
So then my uncle says, tomorrow, after the day is done, you can walk to your father's place where he works, go to his car, then you go home.
Okay.
So what happens when I was with my uncle, he says, well, what are you doing right now? I said, well, it's still summer, you know, 1968. He says, okay, why don't you just continue coming, you know, and I'll teach you how to manufacture jewelry, okay? So
What uncle is this?
this is Uncle Felipe. You know him as well.
Yeah, Felipe.
Felipe.
Okay.
Yeah, he's very, very
Just
nice
another.
guy. And he
I
told me
love how
that.
he laughs.
Oh, yeah.
We gotta get him in here one day.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, and so he told me, he says, why don't you quit school? And I said, I would love to quit school. I said, let me talk to my father. So I went to my father, hey, Pop, you know, I want to quit. I want to learn how to manufacture jewelry. And he told me, he says, why don't you just wait one more year? Do the 11th grade in high school.
Okay.
He says, then you can quit. He
Alright.
says, I need you to learn more English, you know.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, fine. He says, but you still have to go half a day to learn, you know, half
Yeah.
a day at school, and like that. So I did that. So what happened during the 11th grade, it went so fast. And then I said to myself, hey, wait a minute. This
You
year
must have been
went fast.
68, so you must have been 16?
Yeah.
16, 17? Yeah.
Yeah,
11th
'cause
grade.
When
Yeah.
I graduated, I was 18. So what happened is
Yeah.
I said to myself,
So you
okay,
graduated 69, 70, 1970?
I graduated in 1970,
1970, okay.
and here's my ring.
Oh my goodness. All right. I'm going to take a picture and then post it on.
Sure.
We take a nice
I
picture.
remember I paid
Wow.
$28 for it at the high school. I ordered it with my initials and all that stuff.
Yeah, the whole shabam.
Yes, and I was able to pay. I mean, gold was really,
Really
really
cheap.
cheap. At that time, when I started doing jewelry, they used to say, "Oh, gold is $28 per ounce."
What?
And I said to
$28
myself, I didn't care to save and buy gold.
What
'cause
is it today? Like
today,
1750, 1780?
almost 1700.
60
Yes.
an ounce.
Yeah, and
But then, a gallon of gas.
who's gonna know that?
How much was a gallon of gas back then?
Oh my God, about 34 cents, 36 maybe.
You know how much I pay today? My wife has an Infinity, a Q50, and it's a 17 gallon. It was like a little over $100.
Oh my God, can you imagine? Now you gotta work
It's
harder.
$5 and 70 something.
Yeah, and it started going up according to what they said on the news. I saw the news today, and it started from yesterday
Fluctuating.
and today. A few more cents, 50 cents or over 50
So it
cents.
used to be 34 cents. All right.
Yes. So I was able to fill up my tank back in those days for $3.60, something like that. Yeah, full tank.
What car was that?
1959 220S Mercedes-Benz.
220. You had convertible or
No,
it was
just
a coupe?
four-door.
Oh, four door.
the
Okay,
four-door, yeah.
220. Okay, 220. Yes.
220S Mercedes Benz. Very nice car.
You bought it yourself?
I bought it from my father.
Okay.
So that was really good because he says, I'm going to
Ye-
give it to you for $700, but you can do payments, you know. He says, whatever you can. He says,
Whatever you can.
whatever. And I said, can I give you $50? He said, no, you can give me 20 if you want, if you know.
All
I
right.
said, no, I want to give you 50. He says, you don't have to. Because life was a little easier, right? It was easier. So,
You think so? You think it was a lot easier
definitely.
than that? All right.
Yeah, definitely. A friend of mine, yeah, he used to work for 1.5 months,
Yeah.
and then he would take off and go to the mountains. He would go out there in the wilderness by himself. He was crazy, you know.
Yeah.
So he had enough money to pay for food. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a friend of mine, he in 1969, because he didn't graduate. He was in my class, but he decided to get married. Okay, so next thing I find out, he had a nice, beautiful 1957 Bel Air Chevrolet, of course, a 2-door in really great conditions. And I said, oh, how much did you pay? He says, oh, I paid $75. I'm serious. My father bought a 1955 Bel Air in $65. $65. And what happened is his friend came to him and I said, you know what? I got this car for $55. I got this car for $55.
Yeah.
And then my father says, I'll give you 65. And the guy says, okay. So this guy bought the car.
Yeah.
I mean, my father decided to buy it.
Yeah.
And then he goes to his brother, hey, you know what? I made $10. His brother was a mechanic. He says, what, are you crazy? He says, that car was like in really good conditions. Why did you do that? Just for $10, you know?
How much you could have sold it? Like 100, 200,
No,
300,
they didn't cost so much money. They did not. But to find it at that price and
Yeah, it was a,
in good condition. That's what the problem was. It was a
it was
really,
really
good
good
condition.
condition.
Yes. That's why the
It was
other
a
guy.
V8. It was an old
No, V6.
straight line V6. Okay.
V6, straight line, yeah. Straight line, yeah.
Yeah, in line or straight line. Yeah.
So, going back to the story, you know,
Yeah.
I decided I said, I can graduate, you know.
Yeah.
And then I went to the guy, to the counselor, and I said, you know what? I was not planning to graduate, but I said, now I want to graduate. What do I have to do? He
Yeah,
says, okay,
correct.
let me see your report card. So we looked, he says, oh man, he says, you got to go to summer school. Not only finishing the 11th grade, he says, but after the 12th grade, because you have to make
You
up
still
for these
have
classes.
this credits.
Yeah, especially English and mathematics.
Math.
You know, I was not planning to graduate, so I didn't really,
You put effort.
I did not put effort. But then I said, no, okay, now I got to do it.
Yeah.
I got to listen to that guy, and I want to have my certificate.
Yeah.
So I did that, and I did graduate. You know, I graduated, and I'm so happy to have my
Your high school diploma.
diploma. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I, at that time, I could afford to buy my own hat and gown and cap and gown, and then my ring, and I
1970.
sent invitations to everybody, fancy lettering, you know, my graduation, this and that. I could afford it. even
Because you were
though
already kind of working. the
I was
jewelry.
happy working half a day.
Okay.
At that time,
You were already getting paid.
I was getting paid $25 a week. Okay, with that money, I had to buy my monthly pass for the bus,
Okay.
which used to cost only $7
For the whole month.
for the whole month. Yeah, for the whole month. So and then I had to, if I wanted to go and go to Disneyland and go with my cousins and go to parties and stuff like that, I had to save every single dime and nickel and dime.
The nickel and dime.
I had to save
Back
it.
in the days of the coins
Yeah.
have more
Oh, yeah.
value.
Yeah. So I had to, and then also I used to save enough money to go to Mexico City.
Yeah.
Okay, this is how much I used to pay. I used to get a ride from my brother from here to Tijuana, Mexico, and he would only spend like what
$10?
under $3
$5? Okay.
because he didn't spend he didn't waste the whole tank. He still has something left.
Yeah.
And then I used to pay $22.50 to go to Mexico City on a bus.
On a bus. Okay.
Yeah, so when I used to have a little bit of money, and then I went to Mexico City for about a month. Grandma was over there. My father's house was there,
Yeah,
so I didn't
you don't
have
have
to.
the expenses of living,
food,
maybe. Yeah.
food, everything. My aunt used to wash the clothes and stuff like that. So it was a real vacation,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and then when I was getting close to coming back, my friends used to come and visit me. He says, "Oh, I like your shirt." My uncle used to tell me, "Hey, you know what? That shirt that you have the other day, you were wearing the other day, oh, so beautiful." He says, "Oh," he said, "No, that's beautiful. That's yours, But if you have another one that you don't like so much, and you wanna give it to me," and I said to myself, "I know what he wants. He wants that shirt."
It was that shirt. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah. Exactly.
So yeah, I had my aunt wash it and stuff like that. He said, "Hey, uncle, this is for you."
Deal.
Yeah. So practically when I came back, I had nothing, only what I was wearing.
Oh, I thought you came naked.
No, no, not not over
No underwear.
Yeah. So that's the way.
He's
it
like,
used to be.
hey, let me wear your clothes. I'll go back.
So I did something funny, when
Yeah.
I came back.
Yeah.
My brother Carlos was working in another shop. He says, "Why don't you come and work with us?" And I said, "Oh, but I'm working with my uncle." He says,
Felipe.
they don't pay you too much, And I said, "Well, how much do they pay here?" He said, "Well, at least you get the minimum wage,
What was that?
like $1.75."
$1.75. But
Yeah.
you were gonna work full time.
No,
Part-time?
same thing.
You still in school?
Still at school.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I got there and I started working at the place with my brother, they had me only cleaning, just cleaning, and then I just wanted to sit on the bench and practice something, And then when I looked at what they had, the kind of jewelry they had, I said, "I'm not going to learn anything here."
What was it?
It was just production jewelry. It was not special orders.
Okay.
I said, "What am I going to learn here?"
Okay.
So I decided to quit, and I probably was there for about 3 weeks, maybe a month at the most. And then I said, "I'm gonna go back to my uncle's, And I said, "Oh, I wonder what they're gonna say,
Yeah. Yeah.
And then when I got there, one of my uncles says, "So, oh, how did you do in Mexico City?" I said, "Oh, I did fine. How's your aunt? How's this? How's that?" And I said, "Wow, they don't know,
Yeah.
So I said, "I'm gonna pretend that I just came from Mexico City, and
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
They
so-
thought you.
yeah, yeah. So yeah,
So it worked out.
They didn't get mad.
They
or
didn't have to
anything.
know.
They didn't have to know. Yeah, and then I went back to them and
Hey,
started
get my
learning.
shirts.
So what happened is, I was doing basic work. You know what that is, right? Cleaning the rings from the inside and casting, and we used to have for cleaning the rings,
Yeah.
what we call now tumbling.
Oh, Tumblr.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They used to have something that was electronic,
Yeah.
but the fumes were really, really bad. And it was electronic, and you had to positive, negative, and I can't remember how many volts, maybe 12 volts, maybe
Okay. Yeah.
12. And then, but it's not only that it stink, but it was like not so good for the health. So I used to do it like that.
Oh, you had to be on it and
Yeah, you had to-
tumble and.
Yeah, you had to hold negative. I can't remember positive or negative. Probably positive was on the metal, and then the ring you would have to hook it up on a piece of copper wire, and then hold it there, and then it was
Kind of like an
the-
ultrasonic.
they used to something like that. But this one is like it's
That's-
actually stripping the ring, right after casting.
Oh, okay. Okay.
yeah,
okay.
you know what casting looks
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Casting.
Casting, yeah, when you melt the material, the gold and stuff like that.
It's full of
It's not
the
shiny.
cast. No, it's
It's not shiny at all.
It's very opaque. It doesn't have any shine to it. It's coarse.
Yeah. You know how the procedure goes.
Yeah.
You have
Well,
to-
some people don't know, but we're gonna
yes.
probably throw a picture in there.
Yes.
something
So,
what it looks like.
We used to do that, and I used to do. How to do casting is pretty much the same as today. Yeah.
So like usually when they getting the casting out, it's just like a block of cast, and then there's a way to they shoot the gold in there.
That's
and all
correct.
the figures are in there, and then when you break it, there's casts that you put it in let's say in cold water because the thing is really hot.
Yes.
It melts down. You take the pieces, you clip them off. It's called a tree.
Yes.
You clip them off, and well, you got to start working on it.
Yeah,
The
you
first
start
thing
brushing,
was
and then you put it into the
brushing.
acid so it cleans up like that. And it's the same procedure right now, but now it's faster.
Yeah.
Now it's faster. They have better equipment now.
Yeah.
As you know, they have now everything is you can program
Yeah, the machines.
temperatures, the machines.
Temperatures.
Yeah, so everything's really, really
They
good.
have
today.
vacuums, that's another
It-
thing. It creates
yeah,
a vacuum so you can have
yes.
less porosity or bubble,
Yeah, so before it was just by the old-fashioned way.
which is called centrifugal. It's just like
Centrifugal, yes.
it looks like a bucket, and then you wind it,
Yes, there
you
you
melt
go.
the gold, you let it go, and as it turns around, it shoots the gold.
Into
yeah.
the flask.
The G-force goes into and it fills it.
That's correct. Yeah. So I used to do all that stuff, but I wanted to get into something better, like doing special order work. So what happened is, one of the guys that used to be there, a special order guy.
Yeah.
In fact, you know those guys, Aguilar, George.
Yeah,
But I'm
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about George.
Yeah.
But he was so fast. It's so good. He was really, really good. So what happened is he had to go to Mexico.
Yeah. Get a little closer to the microphone.
He had to go to Mexico
Yeah.
to get his green card.
Yeah.
So what happened is he took about a month and a half over there.
Yeah.
And then my uncles were, hey, who's going to do the work now? So my uncle told me, he says, hey, time for you to jump in,
Yeah. Let me move this just right here. Yeah.
Okay, so I did jump in and I said, okay, now I got to find a way to do this,
Yeah.
And my uncle encouraged me. He says, I know you can do it. So I said, okay.
Do exactly like what specifically you
okay.
were gonna do.
Okay, we did the shanks
Yeah.
by hand. This was, you know how it goes.
Yeah.
You
You can take it because we're not live.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, 1 second.
We'd skip it.
Hey, Cookie.
Yalla.
Okay, so,
Good thing it was not live.
okay, yeah, no live. But
The internet's really slow, so.
okay.
So you're about to explain to me what were the special, or what was going to be the process? Or
Yeah, the
kind
special
of-
order,
yeah.
we used to do the shanks. We used to do by hand,
Yeah.
wire. They were like, we used to do 3 wire shanks.
Yeah.
And once in a while we did four circles for the ring to be the
Yeah.
shank. So from there we used to build up what we call today the basket. But
Yeah,
we used to
yeah,
do the
yeah.
wire by hand.
Yeah.
So you had to do that like holding the actual wire, like already curved and everything, put it in the spot,
Yeah.
and then do the soldering in one place, and then
To the other.
the other one,
The basket, like a double
Yeah,
wire, single
yeah.
wire. Yeah.
like forming the basket.
Yeah.
But we
Like a
had to do that.
ballerina.
Uh,
Or just 4 prongs, maybe. Just 4.
no, actually they were pretty much free form.
Uh-huh.
We had baguettes.
Oh, okay.
Rounds.
Yeah.
The center stone could have been opal.
Yeah.
We did a lot of opals in the center.
Yeah.
We did jade. We did a lot. I don't know what how many jade that we do. Lavender jade. I used to see it a lot. Lavender.
Yeah.
Really beautiful jade. So that was the center. So when we did that, we had to have the center stone out.
Yeah.
So we do the soldering, by hand.
Yeah, yeah.
Solder and each single wire do it by hand. So we had to do that. It was not easy. But and then we did a lot of clusters as well.
Okay.
We used to design the cluster in the clay.
Right.
Let's say we have the settings. When they're diamonds, you can have them preset,
Yeah.
and you actually design over the clay.
Yeah. It's like you got a piece of clay and you start putting the stones.
Yeah,
kind
you
to
set
see
it
where
up,
they
and if
fit,
you don't
yeah.
like the way it looks, you move it
Move
around.
it,
Yeah,
yeah.
like that. So we used to do a lot of rings like that. And what happens right after you have it on clay, we used to put this pink plaster
Yeah.
over it.
It's like a dental
Exactly.
plaster for the
Yeah. So we let it dry, and then we remove the clay.
Yeah.
We put it upside down, and now you can see just the bottom of the little settings.
Yeah.
We had to connect those with
You
the
got
fire.
to make, yeah,
Yeah, we had to, solder
make
from the
the
back.
set, yeah.
Make sure everything is soldered, and then
Yeah, like you start doing each vessel separately, right, on the metal. Like you
yes,
build it and you put it and you start
then you go that. Yeah,
constructing.
constructing.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of people that already came from a mold, but they were, you know, they was like
They had to make it and then yeah.
yeah. See, you would
mold
do the pre polishing and then set the stones, preset them, and then put them on the clay. Start designing, and after you do that, we put the plaster, flip it over,
Yeah.
do this, remove the clay, do the soldering, and then we would quench it in cold water.
Uh-huh.
So the same thing as casting.
Cut the
The
residual.
plaster would just crumble.
Yeah.
And you get it as much.
Clean
You
it
have
up.
to get it clean. You use the acid and stuff like that, and then from there on you have to decide exactly where you want it because it had to be
Yeah.
by hand. You couldn't
Yeah.
couldn't do it any other way.
Well, there's
And
there's
then
no other way to do it.
when you're not sure, you ask the guy who has more experience. Hey, is this height okay? No, trim it a little bit down so it's a little too high. You bring it down. Is that okay? Yes. Okay. So you spot solder it from one place. You have to make sure it's like perfectly
Right,
centered.
centered, yeah.
Perfectly centered, well balanced, and you spot solder it in one place so you can actually move it a little bit.
Move it a little bit.
Yeah, tweak it.
Wiggle room to fix any mistakes or
Yes.
make it at least look nice.
Yes, and then you double check it with your
The master's
jeweler's mandrel, just to be sure it's perfectly centered. And if you're not sure, ask the guy
That's
with
it,
more experience. Hey, is that okay? Yes, it's good. So you continue. So you start building the basket because once you start building the basket, you can't.
So you
change it.
have like a master jeweler and you got more people who are doing
Yes, you always
know,
have to. You always have to have a master jeweler,
yeah.
or at least at that
El
time.
mero jeweler.
Yeah, el mero mero. So yeah, so it was funny because even one of my cousins, a girl cousin,
Yeah.
right out of high school, my uncle says, "Hey, why don't you come over? I'll give you a job. Stone setting.
Yeah.
We used to hold it with a plier, and just set the stones by itself. We did baguettes, and she was good in doing baguettes. And she got them together. So then my uncle started designing, and then I started designing as well. And so what happened with that guy who came back from Mexico?
Yeah.
And so my uncle says, no, actually, I asked him, I said, well, what am I going to do? I said, I'm taking already his place. He says, oh, no. In Mexico, what do you say? It's, el que se va a la villa perdió su silla.
Y se
Right,
sentó
so-
en una tortilla fría.
So how do you say it here? Anything like that?
What losers weepers? No, losers keepers. Something weepers.
Something like that, yeah. You lost your place and that's it, You
Hey,
went.
who goes to the villa loses his tortilla,
Yeah.
and then he can't make tacos no more or
That's right.
burritos. He's
So
a
what
burri-
happened is he was forced to open his own place.
His
you
own
know,
place.
down the street.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it was okay. He did okay.
Yeah.
He was good. So and I used to have my cousins.
Oh no,
there.
who went to the villa lost his seat, and then when he comes back,
Nothing to eat.
he sits in a cold tortilla. That make no sense. Losers
Yeah.
weepers, losers, something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, or no, finders keepers.
Finders
keepers, losers weepers.
There you go.
Something like that.
Wow. Yeah, something like that. No, actually, that's how I used to say. And you remember my cousin Alex, right?
Yeah.
So he was working there. Alex was there.
How old was he?
He was
Like same
probably
20s, mid
probably
20s.
about 25, maybe.
All right, mid 20s.
Yeah, mid 20s, and Ruben was there. We were all kids,
Yeah.
Ruben was, I think, about.
Ruben.
Ruben was 14 years old.
Wow.
When he started
'Cause
going to
Alex
the-
is the oldest.
Yeah, Alex.
It's Alex, Ruben. Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
People are not gonna know, but the reason why I'm doing this podcast is because it's very rare that you would know of a whole entire family that a lot of them that are in the jewelry business, especially your generation.
Yes.
From your father to you be second generation. I would
Second
say
generation, yeah.
So where all your brothers, most of your brothers, a lot of your cousins, Okay.
Oh, yes.
So that's it's entire.
Until today, I still have a cousin in Tijuana who's a jeweler.
Yeah.
And too bad for my uncle, 75 years old. Last year, he passed away in Mexico City
Hector.
because of COVID.
Jesus.
But he was still active,
He's
still working in downtown Mexico, you know.
El Zócalo.
Yes, Zócalo. And this is on my mother's side of the family. That's another
That's
thing.
on your mother's side. We're not talking about your dad's side.
Yeah, so I can say two of my mom's brothers were in the business. One jeweler, one stone setter. Okay?
Yeah.
And on my father's side, I guess just about everybody was there, you know. All my, even my aunt was a secretary for my uncles in the jewelry business, you know. So we can say she was also in the business.
Yeah. So
Yes.
you second generation.
So-
So we're talking about Alex was 14 year. No, Ruben was
14.
About 14. Alex might be in his mid 20s.
Yes. And that's, and my cousins from San Diego.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Alex's brother, the youngest one, Joshua. Yeah, and and today I still have. Yeah, you know my cousin Roberto. I don't know if you know him, Arturo's brother. He has a jewelry
No, I don't
in
remember.
combination with a pawn shop. It is called Aztec Jewelers
Aztec Jewelers.
in
Okay.
San Diego.
Right now.
Right
Like,
now.
If we go San Diego, whatever part it
Yes.
is, he's right there. Like, hey, Ruben. Oh, Arturo, right? No.
Roberto
Roberto.
Villarreal.
Robert Villarreal.
Yes, Villarreal. Yeah, he has a jewelry and pawn shop. So he does. He has jewelers over there and anything to do with.
He's got jewelers and robbers. People who pawn things now just.
Yeah, and you know my cousin Arturo. He's
This is
working in
keepers, yeah.
Escondido, and
Why does he hide?
yeah, Roberto is in San Diego, downtown San Diego,
Downtown San Diego.
and his brother, his name is Germán. He's in Tijuana, Mexico. He has a very tiny little repair shop,
Repair shop. Okay.
but he's he's pretty good.
He's pretty good. Repairs those tiny little chains started by hand
Oh,
with a
those
tiny
things,
little.
Yeah, things that I don't dare to
You
do
wouldn't,
anymore.
Jesus.
Yeah.
So, all right. So this might be after graduation. Or you still working part time?
Yeah, after graduation,
So you go back to-
I went full time.
So 1970, let's say.
Yeah,
70-ish.
1970 in the summertime, I went back. Then I worked full time
You
jeweler.
went full time. What you say you want to start? You started designing. So you start working by hand, just
Yeah,
like
by hand.
grabbing the wire,
Yeah.
bending it.
There's one thing that I do want to mention. Okay,
Yeah.
and I told my uncle Felipe. I said, you know, uncle, I learned a lot from you.
Right.
He goes, oh yeah, and I said, yeah. I didn't say you taught me. I said I learned from you.
Yeah.
He says, well, what does that mean? I said, well, you were doing stuff. It's not only that I want to copy that design. I was trying to figure out how your mind was
Works.
working.
Yes.
You know,
Yes. Yes.
why do you?
Why do you put it like that?
Yeah. Why do you put
move
it? Why? You know. And I was probably studying stuff that you didn't know.
Yeah.
I said I wanted to find out the relationship between one stone and another when you were
Like, why are you putting it like the, what,
setting
the
it like that.
height?
Yes, the height, everything.
Why
I was-
does it make it look? Why does it make it function?
Yes.
You were breaking it down like we will say you were back engineering
Yes.
just by looking. Okay.
I was doing that.
Yeah.
And when I told him not, I think I told him either. I'm pretty sure it was this year. You know, he comes downtown. Felipe comes down.
He's still alive, thank God.
Yeah, he still comes downtown, and you know he still has customers here and there, but he doesn't do the work anymore.
Yeah, he does.
He gives it to me or to my brother Bruno, or to the.
We don't talk about Bruno.
Oh
We don't talk about Bruno.
no! Why is that?
It's a song. We don't talk about Bruno. No. I'm sorry.
Anyway, when
It's a movie.
when I told my uncle, I said, "Hey, uncle, I learned a lot from you." You know,
Yeah.
I said you did stuff that was really, really good. You know, and I said, until today I appreciate that. You know,
Yeah.
a lot. And he was like surprised. He says, "Wow, what happened?" You know, and I didn't mean to, but I made him cry.
Oh,
He was so happy that he did something good in his life. You know, I mean, he did a lot of things.
Yeah, yeah.
But that particular thing, he didn't have it in his
he
mind.
he didn't.
Yeah.
Wow.
So even my brother Bruno, he says, "Yeah, uncle, you did a really good job." You know.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh man, like I can't believe, I can't believe this." He was tears coming out of his eyes, and I said, "Wow,"
Yeah.
So I made his day, but I was not saying that just for him to get excited. I was telling him the truth. I said, "Hey, I learned from you,"
Yeah. Yeah.
And I said, from there on, I said, I went,
Yeah.
I said to myself, I don't want to be told what they want. I said, I want to be designing, and I believe the word
Be creative.
I think the word design comes from deciding how you want things to be.
Deciding, designating,
Designating. That's the
making
right word.
decisions.
Yes.
You say, I want to put this here,
And yes.
you
And
decision.
this is something I know you have it too.
Thank you.
And I told you, and I said, even though you gave me a hard time when you were learning, but
We're gonna cut that off.
but I know,
Yeah.
I know what you have. You're a natural artist.
Well, thank you. I appreciate
I
that.
said, I know it right away because I didn't have too many students, okay? Because when I did, what they would do is I would start training them. Then 6 months later, oh, you know what? I got to do something else.
Yeah.
I said, well, what about all that time that I wasted? My energy. And
You
who cares
invested,
about the
maybe. After that, it was wasted. But
and then also,
invested.
you spend money on materials, but that's not really what bothered me. It's like when they start and they leave. And I remember when I
Quitters.
told you, when you came in to me, you asked me, hey, how much do you charge me for teaching me how to do jewelry? And I looked at you and I said, what?
What the hell is this kid? Well, let's just say that was in 1997. Yeah, because I was probably it was 1997. I was 14, 15 years old, and my dad. Well, just to give a little background, my dad and your brothers were friends in Mexico City.
They used to go in the same university.
What year was that? 75?
There was probably no. It was.
It's during Vietnam War.
It was
right?
actually
or the beginning. Or was it?
Let me tell you. I think it was in until I don't know when they started.
Yeah.
I think they started like in 1970 maybe.
Yeah.
Going to University of Mexico City, but I remember when Bruno came back, it was in either 74 or 75.
Okay. So probably
so he was done with school.
Okay.
At that time. So.
Computer back then it was he was studying computer
computer
whatever,
programming and stuff like that. Yeah.
back then.
Yeah.
And my dad, that's what he made. My dad, Marco, Bruno, and then my father, Carlos, and my uncle Jaime.
Yeah.
And they became really good friends. So many years passed, 1990s. My dad decides to just stay here in the States. He brings me, we lived in Cancun, Mexico. And this little kid comes in the shop, and I'm like, whoa, what is this? Like, I want to learn. As soon as I walked in, I was like, I saw you working. I was like, what is this? And I remember I wanted to be some kind of an artist. I knew it, or engineering. And I saw that. I was like, well, this is how it's made.
Yes.
And I approached you. And
how much would you charge me?
How much would you charge me to teach?
And I said, what? And I said,
what the peep?
And I said, are you sure about this? And you says, yeah, I want to learn. And I said, okay, I tell you what, let me think about it. I said, let me think about it.
Yeah.
And then you came, I don't know, later, 2 months later, I can't remember.
Yeah, probably within a month, yeah.
Yeah, and then
my dad was trying to reconnect with Marco, and then we actually saw you in the street.
Oh.
coming from Persian Square on Olive.
Okay.
We were walking, and my dad's like, "Hey, that looks like Javier. Javier," and you were like, "Who the hell are you?"
Yes.
You know.
So, yeah, I remember the second time around. I
'Cause
asked
that's my dad came to Bruno's wedding in 76, 77 when he
Uh,
got married.
yeah, about 77,
Yeah,
pretty much.
my
yeah.
dad came from, and that's why my dad stayed here for a long time
Oh, I
before
see.
going back to Mexico. He went back on 79, I believe,
Okay.
but he was actually living here.
Okay. So, yeah, when you told me, I want to learn that. And I said, and then I told you, I said, you know what? I said, even though I'm working together with my brother,
Yeah.
I said, but I
He's still
work
asking.
independently.
Yeah.
I said, if I need help, I know who to give it to. If I have too much work, I know who to give it to, and they're going to do it right.
Yeah.
You know, I said, I don't want to go to the trouble teaching somebody and then, you know what? I see
You
you later.
you kind of make it sound like no, and I'm not really interested in
Yes,
teaching.
yes, yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah.
And then,
You
but-
were really
but I-
nice about it.
But I know, I knew that you insisted.
Yeah, yeah.
And
A
I said-
couple times.
I said,
Yeah.
wow, this kid really wants to do it, you know?
Yeah.
And then I told you the second time, I said, okay, let me talk to my brother and I'll give you
Yeah.
a phone call. So,
Yeah, like, where are you gonna call me? We
yeah,
didn't have
so,
cell phones then.
so, and I told him, and he says, yeah, bring him in.
Yeah.
So, okay. So I remember you came
And
in.
this was you were in this 635 Olive in the Olive Center today, right? 635,
643.
643
Yeah, on the fourth floor,
on the fourth floor. 420.
the 420. So, and then I told you, okay, Carlos, these are the rules, you know?
Yeah.
I said,
there's
and
a
I'm
lot
going to
of
tell you one
rules.
more time. I don't need anybody, you know?
Yeah, I don't need you.
I don't-
But
yeah, it's not like I want to make money off of you. I said, I don't want to do that, you know?
yeah.
I said, no, I just want to make sure that you want to learn.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to make sure you want to learn. So when you came in, I said, okay, these are the rules. You know, you have to be here on time. You don't fool around. You don't do this. You have to pay
jeez.
attention. You have to do all that stuff. I said, because I don't need anybody, you know?
Yeah, I don't,
Yeah,
I'm busy.
I didn't put an ad or I didn't call anybody, hey,
I didn't
need
ask
somebody.
your dad to.
Yeah, I don't need somebody to help me. No, I said, no.
Yeah.
I said, but I'm willing to teach somebody who really wants to learn.
Right.
And that's how I found out. And I said, oh, okay, Carlos, this is what you have to do. And you remember all the stuff we did.
Yeah.
You
it
did
was a
stone
lot.
setting.
Stone
You
setting.
did, you did
But make sure make them really tight. I was like, all right, make sure they're tight. They're
Yeah.
very tight. I was like, okay.
yeah, then say what happened. It's okay.
It was a tennis bracelet,
Yeah.
right? It was round stones.
Correct.
All right,
You
which
can't
is
go
super
wrong with that.
easy. And I was told a few times. I was like, I think Carlos, how you do it, you know? I don't. And you explained to me, and then I went to Carlos and said, just make sure they're tight. He told me to make sure they're really tight. So they have these little tiny pliers. So I went and I grabbed the pliers from the toolbox, the big
Big mamas.
mamas, and I started squeezing those things. So it must have been a tennis brace. I don't know, 25, 30 stones, which they delivered it. It's like, hey, the stones are broken.
Oh, my God. Hey, they were diamonds, by the way.
They were diamonds. They were not small diamonds either. They were maybe 5-pointers,
Yeah.
10-pointers, maybe. Maybe.
Probably
What is
10
the
probably
10?
10 pointers, yeah. About 3 millimeter stones, yeah.
And then you get a call. It's like, hey, the stones are broken. Like, all of them? It's like, most of them, yeah.
Oh, my God, yeah.
And I said, well, you said make them really tight. Yeah, they feel like
They're not coming out,
they're
right?
not coming out.
Too much power.
And that's it. That was the end of my career. And I was yeah. And they told me you can't come in no more. No. So I was like, oh man, that was devastating for me. I was like, oh man, I really wanted to make sure they were tight. And
Yeah, well, it happens, you know.
it was for Luminar Creations.
Wow.
It's a job for Luminar,
Yes.
and they thought I was got it.
You know, I remember, you maybe remember, ¿cómo se dice? You reminded me.
You reminded me. You.
that when I was in my uncle's place,
Yeah.
not the very first day, but
At Felipe's.
Felipe's,
Yeah.
pretty new. He says, Uncle says, he says, do you want to learn how to do stone setting? And I said, yes, I want to learn. I want to learn everything.
Yeah.
He says, okay, look at me how I do this. How I set this emerald. So he says, this is the way you open the
Box.
what we call the box. No,
Yeah.
open it. He says, do you
Make
see that?
space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So he did 4 prongs, and then he says, okay, now very careful how you tighten the emerald. What they call a cabochon
Yeah. Yeah.
emerald.
Cabezon. Cabezon.
Cabezon.
Yeah.
So he says, he explained to me everything. He did a really good explanation.
Yeah.
And he says, okay, go to your place and set this one, another emerald. So I go to my place and I said, oh, okay, this is how I saw he was doing it. He was doing opening the box and stuff like that. And he says, very careful, it's a fragile stone. So I put it in and I said, okay, it's okay. It's well fitted. He says, okay, now time to put the pressure to hold the stone with the prongs. So I started doing it, and when I did my second prong, guess what happened?
You
Boom!
broke it.
I broke it. And then what I did, I remember I just I let go of my pliers. Boom! It made a noise on the bench, right? And I just stood there and I said, how am I going to say this to my uncle, What should I say? Hey, excuse me, uncle, I broke it.
Oh, gee.
And I said, okay, but is he going to guess or is he going to, maybe it's a 5-minute job and I'm 45 minutes and don't say nothing, I said, no, I got to go tell my uncle,
Yeah.
So I went to him and I told him, hey, uncle, I accidentally broke the stone. He goes, I knew it. And I said, what? He says, yeah, I knew you were going to break it. And I said to myself,
What a beautiful word. Oh, no.
I said, if he knew I was going to break it,
Yeah.
I said, why did he do that? Why did he give it to me?
Yeah.
And,
Let's see.
he didn't scream at me or anything,
Yeah.
But then I went home and I was saying, why did he do that, Why did he do that? And I was asking
Yeah,
myself
experience.
all the
Yeah.
time
Yeah. Yeah.
until I
You were
figured
puzzled. Yeah.
until I figured out what that meant. He says, I understood. Pay attention to what you're doing,
Yeah.
and in a way, I said now I'm forced to learn,
Yeah. Yeah.
I said I owe him that.
Yeah.
I have to become a good worker. I owe it to, because he didn't charge me
Yeah.
for the emerald.
Yeah.
Which
you didn't never. I never pay for those diamonds. I don't think. Well, not directly with money. So
but anyway,
yeah.
So I said no. Now I gotta pay a lot of attention.
Pay attention.
I want to go back in history a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah. Go for it.
First time that I visited a jewelry shop, I was 12 years old
Okay.
in Mexico City. My uncle Hector,
Yeah.
he used to have a jewelry shop in downtown Mexico City.
Yeah.
So I remember in the summertime, I was out in the street, vacation time, all day long, playing on the street.
And soccer.
And then my nice shoes, kick the ball and all that stuff and tear them up. And sweating all day long,
Oh, Jesus.
sweating, just being outside. Time for lunch, go home, wash your hands a little bit, eat, go back and,
Play more.
play some more. All day long until 9, 10 o'clock at night.
Jesus.
Yeah. So I remember one time I saw my uncle Enriquez and my grandma standing at, they were talking at, right in front of the main door, to get into the house.
Maybe on Sawan.
Sawan, they
the
used to
people
call it.
down there.
Yeah. So
Which
they
is
were,
a long hallway on a building complex.
Yes.
You know, what we call the hallway to a building complex.
Yeah. Enough to park a car.
Enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a driveway and it's an in-way and yeah.
Y claro, way.
Yeah, lots of.
So what happened is, I saw them talking, and then I was just alert, you know. I said, they're gonna say my name anytime, right?
Oh.
So suddenly I say, Javier,
It's like, oh,
get over here, you know. Oh, man, I went like this.
and
Oh,
playtime over.
what did I do this time? You know, I said I did so many bad things. I did many bad things, and I said,
I find that-
which one is
which
that?
one?
Yeah, which one am I
Which
gonna,
one?
complain about?
Yeah.
And then when I got there, he says, they were both like angry, you know.
Yeah.
They said, Javier, you play too much on the street, and starting tomorrow, you're gonna go with your uncle, and you guys are gonna you're gonna go to the shop. I started jumping,
You're like,
Of
"Woo,
joy."
woo," yeah.
and they looked at each other like saying, hey,
They were trying to kill your joy.
where's the punishment? You know?
Yeah.
No, I was so happy
Yeah.
that they told me you're gonna go to the shop. But for them, it was like a
They thought it-
castigo,
Yeah. Punishment.
punishment. And I said, hey, wait a minute. You know, I love the idea. So we started really early in the morning. I was all,
Very ready,
showered up and lots of vaselina on my
Yeah.
head, you know, like they used to wear back then,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, the wet look, you know,
Yeah.
all shiny, you know. And, okay, I'm ready, ready to go.
They were like
7
what
o'clock in the morning, I'm
world?
ready to go. And also my brother Carlos, also, we both went, you know. So we used to do, what's normal on a kid like that, you sweep the floors, and sometimes they ask you to melt the gold or go
Pick up things, errands.
Yeah,
Pick it up.
find
bring
out
it.
who does rhodium plating, who
Yeah,
does
find-
melting, right in Mexico City.
Yeah.
And also, hey, why don't you buy me some tacos? And why don't you buy
Yeah,
me
bring
one
food,
torta?
Yeah.
And I want some soda. Okay, so we went and
Bring
bought the
here,
stuff.
yeah,
And he
yeah.
says, okay, you can buy one for yourself. Okay, fine.
Yes.
So all day long I was having joy, sweeping, and suddenly we go here and there. We used to bring the stuff, and you know. And one thing I do want to mention, I
Yeah.
mean, one of the guys that was working in my uncle
Shop.
Hector's shop,
Yeah.
with the years, he used to follow my father all over the place. And you know that guy. They used to call him Chapatin.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, Chapatin.
Yeah.
His name was Jose. But anyway, I knew him when I was. He knew me when I was a little kid. So when I went with my uncles, Alfredo and Felipe,
Yeah.
another uncle on my mother's side was doing polishing over there with my uncles. Okay.
Yeah.
So I remember my mom, and I'm so happy for what my mom told me that day.
Yeah.
I think that was the best consejo,
Yeah. The best advice.
the best advice I ever had in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Heart to heart.
Yes. When I was there one time, nobody else was there, just my mom and I. I was about 16 years old. And my mom told me, he says, Javier, I want you to tell you something. There was one guy talking about you at your uncle's shop. And I said, what? I said, wait a minute, I've been there a couple of days, and now somebody's already talking about me. And it was this guy, Jose,
Yeah.
from Mexico City. He came to USA when my father came here as well, and stuff like that. So he says, oh, this guy Jose is talking about you. And I said, well, what did I do,
Yeah.
He says, he told your Uncle Felipe
Yeah.
not to, he says, don't take Javier in. He's very playful. I said to him, what is he talking about? When
Yeah.
I was 5 years old,
Yeah.
why is he saying that? I'm not like that anymore, I'm not 5 years old anymore. But she said, and then my mom says, okay, son, whatever that might be, he says, you have to prove to them who you are, a responsible person,
Yeah.
You have to do a good job wherever you might go. And that's from today on,
Today on. Yeah.
So well, since I knew there was somebody already talking about me, I said to myself, no, I gotta prove this guy, not necessarily to him, but I said I have to prove to my uncles that I can become a reliable person,
Reliable,
responsible.
responsible.
Yes, and I said I gotta do it. I said my mom opened up my eyes, you know. I said
Yeah, like a kind of like a wake up call.
yes, and I said from now on, even if the guy was not accurate, I said from now on, I said I have to change.
Yeah. How old were you then?
16.
Like maybe
16.
Wow. So
16. Yeah.
you were still in 11th grade. That was early on.
Yeah.
You started going.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
finishing the 10th grade. Yeah. And I said no, I said I can't carry on with this reputation. I said I don't want to carry that one.
Oh, snap.
I don't want to
Reputation.
carry that
Yeah.
one. And I said, even if this guy's bluffing, I don't care. It's a wake up call. And from there on, I have to be Javier Villarreal.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
you
I have to
maybe have a new like, hey, this is him now.
Yes, yes. I said I don't want a bad reputation. I said I want a good reputation.
Yeah.
So I said I could have said, oh, I don't care what that guy says, and do. No,
Yeah, still
I said,
doing what
I
you
said,
do. Yeah. Or maybe like I don't care what the guy says. It doesn't bother me. I don't care what people think.
Yeah.
Even though he might be right or he might be wrong.
Yeah.
But it's like
Yeah.
But you thought like maybe you took ownership of that.
Oh yeah, yeah. I said,
It's
no,
like,
wait
you know
a minute.
what? Maybe there was some truth to it, and you were like, you know what? Maybe I want to change for the best. Okay.
Yeah. So and I was very thankful with my mom.
And to the guy for making that.
Yeah, for making that.
because if he wasn't,
No, yeah.
he wouldn't have said anything. Your mom wouldn't. Nobody would have said anything. You would have
Yeah.
continued on that.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
At least to appear.
Yeah.
that you were
But I
not serious. Maybe
and
that's what
I,
he meant. that You were
and I
not
did
serious
tell my
about
mom.
it.
I said, "What is this guy talking about?" He says,
Yeah.
"Maybe when I was 5 years old." I said.
Yeah.
Then my
Yeah.
mom said, "No, you still have to be."
Maybe your mom said it for a reason. Maybe she wasn't necessarily agreeing with the guy, but he was like, well, I think it'll be good,
Yeah, just to make
Yeah.
sure that I would not get a bad reputation.
right?
So my mom said, "Hey," so I'm glad it was my mom. It was not my father, even though my father always was like, you knew him, very
He
strict.
was very.
But what maybe
He was firm. It's
Well-
strict and firm. Because
Yeah.
there's some guys that are strict and they're just like controlling.
yes,
But your father was strict in the sense that I mean what I say, and
Yeah.
and
and
yeah,
what he did is work, as far as work is concerned. That was something to prove it. He says, "Hey,
yeah,
yeah." He was a really, really good stone setter. So he's the one that taught Carlos how to do the stone setting.
yeah.
And then Carlos taught Bruno and stuff like that, But
Okay, yeah.
so, but it was my mom who made me.
Who got you?
Yeah.
Give you a heart, maybe for a reason. Everything's for a reason.
Yes. So
1970,
yeah, from there on, I said, hey, no,
I wanna have a better-
I gotta do my job,
Yeah.
I gotta do my job, and every time from there on, I used to talk to myself, Javier, you gotta do this job. How you gonna do that? Describe it in your mind first before you start doing it. So it became like a pattern,
Yeah.
and well, that's the way until today. That's the way I am, Whenever I
Yeah,
gotta
you
do something,
analyze, you start thinking
yeah,
about it. Yeah.
I gotta do this and I gotta do that. I gotta think. Delivery
Yes,
has to be right.
It has to be on time. It has to be well done. It
Yes.
has to be.
Yes. Until today, as you know, I'm still working.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you are fascinating in the sense that I know a lot of people that once they learn something, they just stuck to that. It's like this is it. I do stone setting. I'm gonna do stone setting for the rest of my life, and or the same. If you're just a polisher, that's all they do. They don't. They only focus on the one good thing.
Yes.
But in your case, I know you're a jeweler. You had a reputation of really good with a torch, soldering, and making things by hand. One of the things we haven't talked about, carving wax.
Yes.
You have not only carving waxes, but getting ideas and making them look better.
Yes.
You have something that maybe they have disgusting or not disgusting, but a really bad drawing, and start giving a shape through wax, whether it was with metal or through wax.
Yes, yes, yes.
So I want to know how you got into the wax carving.
Yeah, okay. What happened is in 1973, I decided to join my father here in downtown.
And the
And I-
607,
and
605,
607,
607, fifth floor.
607 on the fifth floor
With
George Barbach. And,
Barbach,
and that guy, he gave me my ABCs on wax carving.
wow.
Yeah, he was really good. As I told you before, he was in the bench, and he was a salesperson. He had a really good reputation all in the United States.
Okay.
So he
It was renowned.
yeah, yeah. He get his work
Barge.
together
Yeah.
and go out there, go to the jewelry stores, because we're talking about wholesale, right? We go
Yeah,
to
yeah,
the
yeah.
jewelry
Yeah,
store
yeah,
so they
yeah.
can resell it.
Okay.
So he did really fine work. So he says, Javier, come here. I'm going to teach you how to do this. You know, how to take measurements and how to, you know,
How
special
to
order
take
work.
measurements. Okay, and do special work.
Yeah, special
right.
work. And there used to be one guy, one customer from him.
Yeah.
He used to be in El Paso, Texas. The guy who used to send the work, I'm pretty sure he was an engineer
Mm-hmm.
because he would do sketches to the millimeters, you know, on paper.
So who map them out? Okay.
Yeah. He would tell you, if there was an angle, he would tell you how many degrees.
Oh, snap.
Yeah.
It's 20,
And
30
every
degrees.
single
like
stone-
baguettes, you know?
Yeah. Every single stone that was going to be into the ring,
It had to be the measurements.
it was exactly the size that was on the paper.
Oh.
So you couldn't go wrong. So I was happy for that because you learn, you know, you how can I say, you can't go wrong.
You can't go wrong
You can't go wrong.
with a
But then-
blueprint. Like he would make a
Yeah, he'd
blueprint.
make a
of it,
blueprint.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then, you know, first you do your initial stuff, you learn basic stuff, and then now you're on your own. Now you become creative. Whoever wants to be creative, that's the time. After you learn the basic stuff.
Okay. After you learn the basic steps, or let's say after you master, or
Uh,
you learn
Yes.
with the mastery,
Yeah. And now
you could be creative.
you're creative, and you find out you're good at that, and you continue in that direction.
Yeah.
Now you're the designer.
Okay.
Yeah. A
Okay.
designer is not somebody who takes a blueprint and, okay, I did it like that. No, it's like, okay, with George Barmas, he used to give me parcels of
Stones?
different colored sapphires.
Oh, wow.
He says, Javier, see what you can do. Okay, so I started doing my models, make molds, shoot the waxes, cast them, you know, all that stuff.
You do by-
pre-polishing,
Would you
stone
used,
setting.
you used to make any means possible, or he meant you carve them out first? Because you make them molds, that means you cast them, or you make them. You used to make them directly in metal.
I did a combination of making
Okay.
molds and then get it casted in the correct metal. And now we're going to preset the stones
Oh, okay.
because they're sapphires. You could actually put them into fire, but you can't quench it.
No, because
Okay.
it would break the stone.
Yeah, you'll break
You have to let it cool and room
So,
temperature.
yeah, so man,
Not even there. Sometimes you gotta cover it because if air comes in, it might break the stone. I remember a few times Carlos did that. He soldered something. I'm sorry, Maestro Luis. He would solder it and he would cover it. I'm like, why are you covering it?
Yeah, even air conditioning can break them.
Yeah, and he said because the air might break the stone.
Yeah, that's true.
I was like,
That's
"You
like
serious?
change
He
of-
would do it and cover it right away. It had a hole, so it would.
Yeah.
He would leave it there, like don't even open it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
So you make molds. You started.
and then I started doing my own designs. But before I would actually finish it, I would show it
Oh, okay.
to my boss, okay? And I said, okay, now I have 10 sapphires and I can use 6 diamonds or whatever that might be, set them up in clay, show it to him. He says, yes, do
Okay,
it.
do it
And then
with green light.
I used to have, then with the time, George
Yeah.
Barbach had another partner,
Yes.
a guy from England, Jewish guy from England. His name was Harry K. And he used to, every time he would like something and tell you, yes, go ahead, he would use the word print it.
Printed.
Yeah, print it. He says, okay, like saying, okay, I like it, go ahead and do it, you know?
Yeah.
He
It's
says,
like
okay.
the paper, maybe.
Yeah,
That's,
okay, print it,
print
you know?
Print
He
it.
used to say that. And yeah, I would show it to them and then, okay, print it. Okay,
Yeah.
so now I knew what to do exactly. So I did a lot of wire work with them. And what happened when I went with him and I said, he says, okay, how much money do you want to make? 1973. And I said, well, I want to make $4.50 per hour. He says, it's a little too much. And I said, well, I said, let me be here 1 week, 2 weeks, and then you tell me. Okay, so I started working with him. He says, okay, Javier, at the end of the week, he says, how much money did you want it? I said, $4.50 per hour. He says, you know what? I'm going to give you 5.
Wow.
I said, oh, wow, thank you.
50 cents more.
Yeah, and then a few months go by. He says, Javier, come here. I'm going to give you a raise. I didn't ask for it. He said, now you're going to make $6,
A whole dollar.
Yeah, a whole dollar, yeah. Sometimes 50 cents, sometimes $1,
Yeah.
And then also, believe it or not, there used to be a jeweler's union in Los Angeles.
A jeweler's
Union. Yeah, and that not all the companies were in the union, okay? But
Okay.
But George Barmach, he was into the union, And the rules were to work 35 hours a week. From there on, it was like
The minimum to be part of the union.
yes.
Okay.
Actually, yeah, they would not control, but how can I say this? Actually, yeah, it was a control of the wages,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So once in a while, there was a 25 cents increase for everybody. But I didn't need the 25 cents because the guy used to give
you
me,
would pay him way more.
yeah, he would give me 50 cents more or $1
A
more.
dollar, whole dollar, from 4 to 5 to 6 within,
Yeah,
let's
so-
say, a year.
So yeah, I mean, like right
Oh.
away, I started getting raises. He says, your stuff is selling right away. And I said, well, I'm happy,
Yeah.
And we used
So
to,
you making way more than that to him.
yeah, he was, yeah, and then actually he used to have also a sales lady, and she would say, oh, Javier, even though I didn't sell this ring this time, but they loved it at the store. He says, I know where I can sell it. He says
Right.
they love the way
Love the way it's
it's
made.
done. Because I used to make something. I used to give it, like I said, I learned from Felipe how to give those dimensions
The
and
dimension, the
the
look,
heights
yeah,
and
yeah.
this and that. Oh man, wow!
Do you think you can draw them out?
I'm not too good in drawing, as you know.
But at least you can
Yeah, I can actually sketch a little bit.
sketch a little bit. All right.
Yeah,
All right.
you're good in sketching, in drawing. Yeah, but it's okay. This is how I used to design. I would not design in paper. I would actually go directly into carving. If I had an idea, I'd go
carve it by
directly.
wax. Okay.
Carve it, as much as I could, just to show. First to Carlos. Carlos, you think this is a good idea? He says, let me show it to Richard. We used to work for this guy, Richard. So he says, yeah.
Nixon?
He likes it. He says, yeah, he likes it. Go ahead and do it.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so now I can fine tune it. Measurements, everything fine, clean it, very nice. So we send it to be casted, and then finish the piece. And then make molds because
Make mold.
most of the time they
to
wanted
repeat.
repeatable
Yeah,
items.
yeah. Repeatable.
That's where the money used to be made. Repeatable items.
Yeah.
Because you do a lot of effort at the beginning. You make a mold. Now it's not so much work.
Okay.
Yeah, and today we practically have to do every time because everything is so different, so exact, and
Yeah. Correct.
yeah.
Well, there is still. I mean, things have changed.
Yes.
From this, we talk. Well, okay, let's say we are in 1978 now.
Yes.
You're working with your father, 5th floor, 607 building. Carlos is there. Who else is there?
Actually, my father moved from George Barmach to Terrell and Silverman. Same
Terrell
floor.
and Silverman.
Yes.
Same floor. How?
My father, actually, this is what happened. My father taught Carlos how to do the stone setting. And
Kind of took over.
Carlos went, no, they wanted my father to go to Terrell and Zimmerman. But my father says, you know what, I'm going to send you my son.
Oh, okay.
So Carlos actually started with Terrell and Zimmerman.
First.
First.
For your dad. Okay.
Yeah. And then not too long from there, my father went to Terrell and Zimmerman. 2 people. And there was a time, I don't know if your father visited that place, but in
Yeah. He remembers.
the
He
sixth-
remembers the 607 because sometimes we will walk there and he's like, "Hey, Carl, Bruno's dad was here and I asked him to work, but they weren't." He said someone was stealing from there. One young kid from Mexico or something. They stole something. He got caught, and your dad's like, "We can't bring anybody like that here because this. I already look bad because I brought him in."
Oh, I see,
So
I see.
Bruno kind of told my dad, "Let's see if it happens. If it goes, I'll give you a call." But he said, we have passed through there many times. He always like, "Yep, Carlos. I met your dad and I went up there."
Okay.
Well, my dad worked for a jewelry store, but as a sales rep here on Broadway.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Anyway, so
So what I'm trying to say is like,
Carlos goes first.
and then
Your dad.
space was not enough anymore on 607. So they took not the whole floor, okay, but there was a
Wow,
diamond
fifth
dealer
floor.
in one section, in the small section, and then the rest was Terrell and Zimmerman, offices, salespeople, and production and all that stuff. And then right after that was my father's shop. It was not a building that we took over. It was designed for a jewelry shop. It's the first time I see something designed for jewelry, jewelry manufacturing. So yeah, so my father's place became 26 people. It started with one, now it's 26 people.
With him.
Yeah, including him and the secretary. Yeah,
Okay.
26 people.
Wow. You were
And,
there.
and,
Your brothers or
Yeah,
Carlos?
yeah.
Who else?
Everybody was there. Even my sister Susan, right after
Susan,
high school, she didn't know what she wanted to do. So she went there for a couple of months, and then she decided to go to college. So she went to college.
Yeah.
El,
She works
El
at
Camino College. She was shooting waxes in the centrifugal little machine.
Yeah. Okay.
She was doing that. Yeah. Also, my cousin Rosie. Did you ever met her?
I think so.
I'm pretty sure you met her when we had
Esmeralda's wedding.
family reunions and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I met a lot of them in your oldest daughter Esmeralda's
Yes.
wedding.
Yes. And going back to 1978, before we went to Terrell and Zimmerman, because that was in 1980, but in 78, my brother Carlos told me for the first time, "Hey, let's get together and work," So I left George Barmach, and we went to 629 building on the 11th floor.
629.
Six- 629. Well,
right.
you used to be there.
Yeah. I used to be on the 3rd floor.
Okay, we went to the 11th floor, and it was almost empty.
Wait,
that
that
building.
11th floor is where it has the stairway to the penthouse. Well, there used to be like, that little tower. If people don't know, that's it's kind of made in the same year as the Eastern Columbia.
Wow.
It has green marble on the outside, right on Hill Street,
Wow.
right across the street. Anyway, so 629.
Yeah, I
11th
didn't know
floor.
that. But anyway.
No, because the marble looks the same. I'm just
Yeah.
guessing.
Oh, okay.
The Eastern Columbia, which is on Broadway and 9th. No, 9th Street. And then,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, it's called the Eastern.
Very nice building.
Yeah. Well, Johnny Depp used to live there.
Wow.
He used to have the whole penthouse. So I parked right on the corner of that, on 9th and, I parked on 9th and Hill.
Oh.
And we're talking about 9th and Broadway, the Eastern Columbia. So Hill, between 6 and 7, there's this beautiful old green marble, like the outside. I mean, it's
Yeah,
just
it looks nice. I don't know what it is.
11th
but it
floor.
looks really
Yeah,
nice.
because right now the 11th floor is the manager's office, And then they have a stairway to that little beautiful part
I
of the
see.
building.
I never went there. But anyway, yeah, we were there in 19, what do we say, 78?
78.
Yeah. And, uh, not too long ago, I found the contract, the leasing,
The lease contract.
yes. And we used to pay $155 for a super big space.
How much is it? 2,000 square foot? Maybe less?
Uh,
1,000?
maybe 1,800 feet.
Wow.
And yeah, most of the building was empty,
Okay.
Yeah. And then with time, we moved out of there. We went to 610 Broadway.
Okay.
And I remember a company, it was called Rings and Company. Yeah, back in the day, 1979 maybe. They became big, but they only did wedding bands,
Oh, okay.
in the same 11th floor. Actually, they took our place plus a little more.
A little more.
Yeah. So, yeah, and as I told you, I found that contract. And I said, "Oh, I'm gonna keep this. This looks really, really nice." And I remember the guy. He says, "Are you guys sure you can make this payment?" And I was thinking to myself, "Could we?" But it was not a lot of money. Also, everything was cheaper back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't get paid like today, but still today we get paid well, but it's still not good enough
Enough.
for anything.
Yeah.
Money's
It's tight.
tight. Yeah, anything you buy is expensive.
Yeah,
today.
because with Roger, with Rogelio, we had we were gonna get an office on Hill and Washington, same owner of the building, and
Wow. Okay.
yeah, so all the way right across the street from City Council, not City Council, but where you pay tickets. There's a courthouse there,
Oh. Oh yeah.
and then we're gonna have about 4,000 square foot, the whole corner. It was three of us to pay it. And the guys, all right, fine. And they're like, well, what do you guys do? We do jewelry. It's like, oh, you know what? I can't allow it to be in this building. I'm not allowed. Some reason, something with the fire department. So we have this space. It's less. It's about 3,000 square foot. You guys want it? We went in there. It's like, well, back to zero. Like we were at 425 on the Olive Center on Olive, right next to where I started working with you. That's where we started. It was 1,500 square foot.
Oh.
Remember, there used to be a guy that used to do hair implants right next door.
Oh.
He used to bang on the wall because our music was too loud.
Yes. Yeah. That's right. That's right, Mister.
How are you with time?
No, I have to.
You have to run?
I have to run, but yeah, we'll do.
Yeah, we can sit down more. I mean, this is a great start. Javier Villarreal, we stopped right at 1979, 1980 when you go into Terrell
And Silverman.
and Silverman. Well, Javi's, I'm gonna just take time off work because it's just time goes on.
Yeah, it gets crazy sometimes. You gotta do stuff like this. You have to deliver stuff, and as I told you, yeah, I do have work.
Yeah.
But today I had a lot of stuff to do. Go to post office and go pick up waxes and deliver it to casting, and like that.
And then yeah, because I want to talk about how it has changed from your time
Oh yes.
to now. I mean, it has changed from when I started until now.
Yeah, I can see it like 3 times the change. When I used to work by hand, then we did wax carving, and now we do computer.
Computer work.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to get. All right, Javier.
All right.
Javier, thank you so
Thank you
much.
so
I
much.
appreciate your time.
All right.
We leave it in part 2.
Yes.
I'll pause some of this. I'll do it quick so people can watch it and
Yeah.
they can refer it to, so people get to hear what we talk about.
Yes. And there'll be more.
Yeah, we used to sit right next to each other.
Yeah.
and-
Oh yeah.
All right. Thank you,
All right,
Javis.
thank you. Thank you so much.